questioning soul is not unusual. However, when the questioning is connected to pride or doubt, that is when questioning God become an issue for mankind. But where does this questioning God come from? Because if you have ever found yourself in the position where doubt causes you to question God, you may be wondering, why am I doubting God? I know God is real. I know the word is true, mighty God, but yet I question the things that God says. But this doubt, saints of God, it comes from the very beginning in the Garden of Eden, where Satan himself, mighty God, questioned Eve about what God said, mighty God. This form of question creates doubt in the soul of mankind. When he did that to Eve, she lost her position, mighty God. And it is the same way when we fall a prey to such deception, we will lose our position in Christ. A questioning soul reflects an internal struggle that hinder the move of God in the life of a believer. It can place us in seasons of spiritual delay or leave us in a state of unpreparedness. Because when God said go, and we are questioning, is God saying go, or should I wait until I finish this? We will be unprepared for the move of God. Yes, the saints of God, God is a versatile God, mighty God. One moment, God is Jehovah Shalom, our peace. And the next moment is Jehovah Sabaoth, our mighty warrior. But yet God remains the same yesterday, today, and forever. So if we're going to be usable, mighty God, in the hands of God, we too must become spiritually flexible, learning to trust God without constantly questioning his instruction. We can only fear, we cannot allow the fear of the unknown or fear of change to control, mighty God. Fear of change to control, mighty God, us. Mighty God, as believer, we must be ready and available for God to interrupt our life at any time. We often call this interruption actually divine alignment, mighty God, to the greater plan. So when God interrupts our life, it is for the greater plan that he has. The enemy's strategy, however, in this season of our life is to cause us to question God's interruption, placing us in a position where we block the move of God or even prevent God from using us as a vessel. He paid the price for us with his own life. That means God has all right and all authority to interrupt our life as he sees fit for his glory and for our own benefit. I'm not saying that we cannot ask God a question. Sure, we can. But when it doubt his instruction, mighty God, that's not the question that we should be asking God. It must be because we're seeking understanding about a matter. And our heart posture must be right if we're going to ask God a question. It cannot be that our heart posture is full of pride like Satan, or because the instruction interrupt our plan. Because God must be in control of what we do. Some things that cause us to question God include we are fear of change. We fear the change that will happen. Some things that cause us, mighty God, to question God include also incomplete surrender. When we are not fully surrendered to God, when we get an instruction, we question it, mighty God. Another thing that causes us to question God is pride, because we want to stay in control, mighty God. Another thing that does that is fear of the unknown. These are seeds that the enemy plant to cause us to resist God without we even realizing that we are resisting God. It's the saints of God, a questioning soul challenges God's choice. A questioning soul focus on weakness. A questioning soul resists God's assignment. Our inner struggle don't disappear automatically. We must be intentional and rely on God. He said there are consequences of having a questioning soul. Mighty God. And we're going to look on the life of Moses, a case of a questioning soul. Mighty God. So in Exodus 2, verse 23 to 25, and it reads, now after a long time, the king of Egypt died. The people of Israel was sad in their spirit because of being servant. They cried for help, and because their hard work, their cry went up to God. God heard this cry and remembered his agreement or covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God saw that the people of Israel, mighty God, and he cared about them. So he saw their cry and he cared about them. This shows that God hears the cries of Israel and he remembered his covenant, mighty God. Remember, God is a spirit. And when this happened, God needed someone now to go out here on earth to carry out his assignment. So he then chooses Moses, a vessel, to deliver his people. But when God called Moses, the fear of the battle in his mind took over, mighty God. He began to question God, mighty God. You see, whatever God wants to do on the face of this earth, he's going to need a vessel. But when we have a questioning soul, we hinder God from using us as a vessel here on earth. Because we question God, why me have to do this? God, why me I go through this? God, why me choose somebody else? Exodus 3 verse 24 says, there an angel of the Lord show himself to Moses in a burning fire from inside a bush. Moses looked and saw that the bush was burning with fire, but it was not being burnt up. So Moses said, I must step aside and see this great thing, why the bush is not being burnt up. So we see here God gained Moses' attention. The Lord saw Moses step aside to look, and God called to him from inside the bush, saying, Moses, Moses. Moses answered, here I am. God got Moses' attention through the burning bush. Moses recognized that it was God, yet he struggled. Like many of us, God gets our attention, but fear of change and loss of control step in and our soul become questioning. So Moses now begin to question God, mighty God. First, he questioned his identity, questioned mighty God. He questioned the identity of Christ. Exodus 3:11, it says, but Moses said to God, who am I to go to Pharaoh and bring the people of Israel out? So he questioned his identity. Who am I? God, why choose me to do such a big task? Moses allowed his past mistake in Egypt to make him feel unqualified. He questioned God's plan. Even after reassurance, Moses continued to question him. God said to him, I am who I am. Tell them that. He saw the burning bush. He saw the mighty act of God. But yet still he questioned the plan of God. Moses questioned his ability. Exodus 4 verse 10 to 12, it says, Moses said to the Lord, Lord, I am not a man of words. I've never been. Even now, since you spoke to your servant, I am still not. For I am slow in talking, and it's difficult for me to speak. Then the Lord said to him, who has made man's mouth? Who make a man to speak or hear? Who make a man blind or able to see? Is it not the Lord? So go now, and I will be with your mouth. I will teach you what to say. You see, Moses focused on his weakness instead of God's power. Mighty God. When we have a questioning soul, saints of God, we will reject the assignment. Exodus 4 verse 13, it says, but Moses said, oh Lord, I ask of you, send some other person. Can you imagine? Moses said, oh Lord, send some other person. At this point, God became angry with Moses. You see, as I was reading this verse in the week, I remember asking God this question. I said, God, are you angry with me? Because sometimes I operate like Moses and I question the things of God. I find myself questioning things, even though I know within, but I still question God. And my questioning, it wasn't coming from a right place. It wasn't that I need understanding. I was just doubting, so I questioned God, mighty God. And this is nothing to be proud of, mighty God. But in God's great love and his grace and mercy, mighty God, he gave, mighty God, I asked God the question, I think about Tuesday, God, are you angry with me, mighty God? And he gave Apostle the answer to my question. And this is what lead me to this sermon today. So when I'm speaking about Moses, I connect with what Moses did. Mighty God. But I understand the implication of what Moses did now, because Moses' life is an example that this will be in error when we do such like Moses did. Question God's authority, throwing away our assignment. Exodus 4 verse 14 says, then the anger of the Lord burned against Moses. He said, it is not Aaron the Levite, your brother. I know he can speak. Also, he's coming to meet you, and when he sees you, he will be glad in heart. So you see, as much as how Moses questioned and he did all that, that didn't change God's mind. God decided that Moses had to carry the assignment, whether I'm questioning God yes or no. He had to do it. But you know what puzzles me is the part that it says the anger of the Lord burned against Moses. And I'm like, my God. You see, the inner struggle continued with Moses. Mighty God. So he had that inner struggle from the day he saw Christ. He saw God in the wilderness, and the inner struggle, it did not leave Moses. The questioning, the wanting to be in control, mighty God, that did not leave Moses. And these are the things that we question God, because we want to be in control. We want to have things our way, mighty God. So even after Moses accepted the assignment and he was used mightily by God, his inner struggle did not completely leave him. And this is important here, that deliverance in one area does not mean complete surrender in all area. And that's why we have to surrender every single area, every day, every minute to God. Because yes, Moses went and he was delivered from the stuttering and all of that, but being in control still allow him to challenge God, and that is what he did. He challenged God while he was in the wilderness. So in the wilderness, we see both sides of Moses. He was obedient, and yet he was still disobedient because he challenged God. He challenged God's authority. Because what Moses did not understand, but we are understanding this today, that this questioning spirit it's a satanic spirit. And we have to learn to get rid of this kind of spirit from out of us. Moses did not know that this was a satanic spirit where he would question God, and it lead him to disobey God, mighty God. Because when the enemy enter into the soul of any man, we cannot tell the enemy how we should operate. When we're inviting him, he operates however he choose. So when Moses in the wilderness, when God met him, started to question God, Satan realized that this one I can tamper with, because this one have a questioning soul. This one will challenge God's authority the same way I challenge it and was thrown out of heaven. And that was what he did with Moses. Mighty God, the spirit did not leave Moses. But today, as saints of God, we will understand that, listen, when we sit in the position of questioning God from a place of pride, it is a satanic spirit that wants us to abort our assignment. It succeeded with Moses. It succeeded with Moses, mighty God. Mighty God, it succeed with Eve, mighty God. And if we're not careful, it will be successful with we. But tonight we will understand that when the question arises because of doubt or pride, mighty God, we're going to reject it. We're going to renounce it. We're going to let the devil know that I've seen what you did to Eve and know what you did to Moses, and I will not allow you to do it to me. Mighty God, we're going to speak back to the Spirit when it comes for us to challenge God's authority, because doubt is in our mind, or because we don't want to leave from our place of comfort, or we want to be in control. And all those things is connected to one thing: pride. And pride, the Bible said, come from Satan. He is the father of pride. Mighty God. Yes, so we have to understand how pride operates. It is aggressive as well, and it can be so subtle that we won't even know that it is pride. Because Satan, when he realizes that we are spiritually aware of him coming aggressive, he started to come subtle. He started to creep on us instead of walking and attacking. The Bible said he's a thief. Mighty God. So Exodus 17 verse 5 to 7 says, the Lord said to Moses, pass in front of the people and take some of the leaders of Israel with you. Take the special stick in your hands, which you have, and hit the Nile and go. Verse 6, see, I will stand before you here on the rock at Horeb. When you hit the rock, water will come out of it and people will drink. And Moses did so with the elders of Israel. He called the name of the place Massa Meribah because of the arguing of the people of Israel, and because they tested the Lord, saying, is the Lord among us or not? Right? So we see this, Moses never questioned this one. Moses followed God's instruction. He struck the rock, water came off from it. But see, disobedient entered Moses now. Mighty God. He dishonored the authority of Christ. Numbers 20 verse 7 verse 11. Mighty God. The Lord said to Moses, take the special stick. You and your brother Aaron gather the people together. Speak to the rock in front of them, and it will give its water. So you will bring out the rock for water out of the rock for them. Let the people and their animals drink. So Moses took the special stick from before the Lord, just as he had told him. Moses and Aaron gathered the people in front of the rock. He said to them, listen now, you people who go against the Lord, should we bring water out of this rock? So instead of Moses just following what God said, he went there, started arguing with the people, and Satan said, okay, you're not doing what God says. You're not questioning what you should do. You're doing opposite from what God has told you to do. Then Moses lift up his hand. Anger had entered him by this time. Then Moses lift up his hand, hit the rock twice with the stick, and more than enough water came out. The people and their animal drank. Later, God told Moses to speak. So we see, later God told Moses to speak to the rock, but instead Moses struck it again. Why? Moses became familiar. He was frustrated and lack of trust. Mighty God, familiarity will cause us to question, challenge God, and question his authority. Frustration will also cause us to do it. Lack of trust also will cause us to question, mighty God, God's authority, and allow us to have a questioning soul. The consequences of that with Moses, number 20 to 11 said, but the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, because you have not believed and honored me as holy in the eyes of the people of Israel, you will not bring these people in the land I have given you. See, because Moses did not fully trust and honor God, he was not allowed to enter the promised land. Why? Moses' questioning soul, it followed him, and he was prevented from reaching the full potential of what God had in plan for him. Like many of us, listen, this will be our story if we don't stop. This will be my story if I don't stop, mighty God. So I thank God tonight, mighty God, for this revelation that he has given unto me, mighty God, that listen, a questioning soul is only challenging his authority, and the enemy is just waiting to destroy, mighty God, because that is his assignment. Yes, Mount Zion, we have to convince ourselves of this, mighty God. I will not question God. I will trust him, mighty God. I will not fear change. I will embrace purpose. I will not resist God. I will obey him. My destiny will not be delayed in Jesus' name. Mighty God. You see, sometimes God give us instruction. The Bible said this. He said, while we're sleeping, God will come and he will plant instruction in us. Mighty God. But if our soul is not at the right place, we get the dream. Yes, God is always speaking. But then when we wake up in the morning, we don't remember. And God will see that. So he will send now a woman, so his manservant or maidservant, or he send our apostle. In our case, he sent apostle, right, to us and to tell us this. And what we do when we get the instruction, we challenge it. Mighty God. I'm guilty of that. Mighty God. Very guilty of it. Mighty God, but tonight I'm here to tell you, listen, if you're also guilty of it, or maybe it's just me alone, God forgive me, please. Listen, let us not do that. When we get an instruction, because our soul is so filled with all sorts of things. Sometimes we are so busy, we get so distracted. God is speaking, we're not hearing. And the other voice the other ear that God can go to, because this is the office of the prophet. This is not our prophet. This is not our office. It is by grace and mercy that God will speak to us, mighty God, through dreams and vision. It is not our office. Mighty God, our apostle should sit in that office. That is her assignment, for God to speak to her so she can speak to the people, whether she's busy, whether she have problem, whether she have Israel, whether it doesn't matter. God will interrupt her to tell her somebody is going through this. Mighty God, and it's our duty to accept, to take the word, don't resist it, obey the word, because she is God mouthpiece indeed. Mighty God, and we thank God tonight. So in closing, when we refuse to surrender our struggle, the enemy use them. Mighty God. So if this is something that you're struggling with tonight, we're going to surrender it to God. We won't allow the enemy to use it any longer. You see, they become open doors and they can delay, mighty God, or even affect our destiny. That was what happened to Moses. His destiny was affected. He should have crossed the promised land. Mighty God. But because he challenges God's authority, when he hit that rock instead of speaking, that was what he did. In the wilderness, he questioned God. And when he was there with the people, he challenges God's authority, because what? His soul, that was what was in his soul. Mighty God. Mount Zion, let this not be our story. We must trust God completely, mighty God. Stop questioning his instruction. Surrender every inner struggle and embrace divine interruption. Mighty God, we have to learn to do this. We have to let go our heart posture of being in control. We have to let it go. We have to identify these satanic altars that keep our mind in our mindset that we must be in control. Mighty God. I remember Apostle always said to me, because I'm a person that I like to be in control, and that is the truth. You understand? And she said to me, say, Kerry, you're working up here. That is what you're doing. Allow people to live their life and to do whatever they want to do. Stop trying to control people. Mighty God. And that is pride. And that sometimes that's what the enemy use also. Mighty God. But tonight, mighty God, as my sermon come to an end,